Hey guys, this is Candle, and welcome back to Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remaster series. Yes, this is Final Fantasy 2. I did Final Fantasy 1 not too long ago, although that was the PS1 version. I did the Pixel Remaster, last year, the year before, something like that. So anyways, we're continuing on with Final Fantasy 2. This is a bit of an odd duck, a bit of a black sheep in the Final Fantasy series, mostly because of its leveling system. Alright, so I want to go into options here, configuration, just make sure we got things going correctly. So yes, I definitely want the classic font. We're going to stick with the arrangement rather than the original classic music. We'll stick with the arrangement. I think it's really pretty. Everything else here I think is okay. So let's just go ahead and get to it, shall we? Let's go ahead and start a new game. We've got 4 characters here. They do have preset names. You can change them if you want. However, I generally prefer to go with the default names. So let's just go ahead and get started. A long-lived peace. Is at an end. The Emperor of Palamecia has called forth monsters from the underworld and has begun his campaign for world conquest. A rebel army arose in the kingdom of Fynn to thwart the something or other. That's moving a little bit fast. But the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altair. So yeah, there's Fynn, Gatrea. 4 youths from Fynn also found themselves fleeing the Imperial forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire, but their escape wasn't over. So Final Fantasy 1, the text was scrolling way too slow. Here it's going way too fast. So yeah, they really do just drop you into a fight right off the bat. And on the NES, you get like a screen of text to, as a introduction, and then it just drops you in. From the PS1 onward, you get cutscenes. Not really in the Famicom version. However, on the PS1 and PSP, you also have this really neat FMV. I'm really sad they didn't include it in the Pixel remasters. That kind of explains what's going on. So yes, we're going up against 4 Black Knights right off the bat, and we got like no stats. So all we can really do is just attack and do 0 damage. There was 17, that's not too bad. Except these guys hit really hard. So we're fucked. Yeah, no, you're not supposed to beat this fight. This is a story fight. Our 4 friends, our 4 young heroes, got accosted. Will he live? He will. I sense a strong life force within him. He should regain consciousness soon. We found them like this on the escape from Fynn, fallen from terrible wounds. By the time we brought them here, I feared it was already too late. His life is not in danger. This sigil will strengthen his life force. We should let him rest now. Of course. We'd best be off to the meeting. I imagine they're already waiting for us. If the Empire is allowed to complete the dreadnought they're building in Bafsk, their attack will begin in earnest. We cannot sit idly by and watch. We must act. So yeah, the story's a lot more involved here than it was with Final Fantasy 1. And for the uninitiated, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 have like no connection to each other. That's just the way the Final Fantasy franchise goes. It's all an anthology. There are some shared elements, shared narrative themes. A couple characters pop up from time to time, though not really. They're usually not the same character. But yeah, unless it's specifically marked as a sequel or prequel or whatever with a subtitle or an Arabic numeral number, it is not connected to any other game. So, where am I? Leon! Maria! Guy! Where are you? So yeah, Fynn is our protagonist here. Well, there's Maria and Guy. Fynn, you're alive. I thought you'd... I'm fine, Maria. You seem alright too, Guy. But wait, where's Leon? He's somewhere in Raccoon City. Princess of Fynn, save us. But Leon not here. So yeah, Guy is a man of few words. Why use many words when one word do trick? I see. Don't worry. I'm sure he's okay. Alright, so now we go talk to Princess Hilda. Not to be confused with Princess Zelda. This is her twin sister. So you've regained your strength. Very good. Your life force is strong indeed. It was you who saved us, wasn't it? Thank you. Forgive me, Your Highness, but there is something I must ask of you. Please, let us join the rebel army. I could never allow such a thing. You know nothing of battle. You would only be throwing your lives away. You should return to your homes. But we have no homes. Not anymore. Yeah, these were people from Fynn, your own home country. The Imperials attacked, and our parents... Yeah, they're all war orphans now. I'm truly sorry, but that changes nothing. I cannot permit you to join our army. If you've nowhere else to go, you're welcome to stay here in Altair. If you know our password, you should be able to live here well enough. The password is Wild Rose. Remember it well. So this is a key mechanic that unfortunately never really returns in the Final Fantasy franchise. This is the password system. So we gotta learn keywords, and then we can ask them to certain NPCs, and sometimes they'll tell us information, sometimes they'll just have no idea what we're talking about. The Wild Rose is the insignia of the Kingdom of Fynn. It represents our hope for a flourishing future of strength and beauty. But what will become of Fynn now? I've heard that the Empire's captives suffer there in confinement even as we speak. Maria, your brother Leon is missing, is he not? It's possible he's being held in Fynn as well. But Fynn is far too dangerous to travel to now. The Emperor's beasts still stalk the streets. Gaining entrance to the city will not be easy. The man at my right is Minwu, the white wizard who tends your wounds. Speak with him before you leave. He may be of some assistance. Alright. So before we do that... Oh, okay, I don't need to see all that. That's fine. Before we do that, I wanted to open the menu here. So we've got portraits, individual portraits, because these are individual characters. With lines, even. They have names, they have personalities, they have histories. So Maria and Leon are brother and sister. Fynn is Leon's best friend, and kind of grew up alongside them. And then Guy is kind of like an adoptive brother to Maria and Leon, kind of raised with them as well. So we have Fynn, Maria, Guy. There's a fourth slot here. This is going to be rotating in and out throughout the game. So you get like various NPCs join you throughout the game, and you do get to control them when they're in your party. But that's the way it is. You also can change front and back rows. You should be able to... There we go. Changing formation with... No, that puts you back and forth. I want to swap you guys. Can I not swap you? Why can I not... Ooh. For some reason, it's not letting me swap their slots. Swap them around. It's fine. I don't really ever do that anyways, but you can swap them between back and front row, and there are reasons to do that. We also start with some basic equipment. We have a broadsword for Fynn, a bow for Maria, an axe for Guy. You do not have to keep them like that. You can, because the leveling system is pretty freeform in Final Fantasy II, so it kind of goes back and forth. Like however you want to set them up is however you can do it. There are advantages to having them in the back versus front row. Back row, they won't be targeted as much, or at least won't take as much damage. But you also can't hit as hard with melee weapons. Might not even be able to hit with melee weapons at all. I'm not sure. However, you are safe there if you have ranged weapons. So Maria starts in the back rows. That is great. No magic. None of them have magic right now, but that's fine. No items. Just... Oh, this was probably... This was Leon's equipment. Alright. If we go... Yeah, we can check our key terms. So, Wild Rose, the insignia of the Kingdom of Fynn. The rebels also use it as their password. You can go into configuration and change things around. There are more settings in here because we also have boosts. Excuse me, sorry about that. I had to sneeze. So you can turn encounters on and off. You can change the gil multiplier up to 4 times, or even set it to 0 or half. Same with weapon skill level, magic skill level, attribute boosts, and compensatory HP. So increase your max HP after a fixed number of wins in battle. If you want the true experience of the true OG experience of Final Fantasy II, closest you can get is by turning this off and setting everything probably to like half. I don't know. But we're going to leave things on the defaults. We do also have quick save. So let's go ahead and save this real quick. There we go. Because we can't do the proper save here, only at certain points. But we can load as well, and you can see my last... the last time I played this game was like 3 years ago. And I played all the way through it. So, yeah. Alright. There are also autosaves. I think that's just about everything now. So, yeah, we've got like skill levels and stuff. I'll talk more about that when we get into combat. But for now, I see your destiny clearly. The future it holds seems closely entwined with my own. You will begin by journeying to Fynn. That is the first step toward realizing your fate. Alright, but what if we ask you about the Wild Rose? You've wasted no time using the password. Heed well the information it will bring you. You can learn much of value by listening. I offer you one more bit of advice before you depart for Fynn. Those who have fallen in battle can be revived at the sanctuary. Should one of you fall before you reach Fynn, go without hesitation to the nearest sanctuary. Alright. So, I'm not going to worry about keeping everybody on the same level, because that's not how the leveling system works in this game, like I did with Final Fantasy 1. The port of Paloom lies not far east of here, but a lake separates us, so you won't be able to reach the town without a canoe. Yeah, you get the canoe pretty early in the game here. Heading to Fynn, are we? It's not my place to tell you what to do, but I'd reconsider if I were you. It's a dangerous place to be, you see. The city is crawling with the Empire's monsters. To the north lies a small village called Gatrea. Judging by the look of you, you'd be lucky to make it that far. Before you go anywhere, I suggest you visit the room with the sigil that saved your life. There you'll find people who can teach you a thing or two about adventuring. I think you're going to need all the advice they can spare. Alright. So, with that, what about these two? This is the Rebels Army's War Room. Okay, you say the same thing. So I say, let's go to the tutorial room. If we go back in here... Yeah, nothing happens when we step on the sigil. However, we have all these old men here. If we talk to them, we can learn about the game. Probably better than I can explain on my own. In the course of a conversation with someone, a particularly important word may come up. When this happens, 3 commands will appear. Ask, learn, and key items. Select learn to commit the key term to memory. You can then use ask to ask people about any key terms you've learned. Keep in mind that only certain words can be learned this way. To show someone an item from your inventory, select key items. When you learn new words or find rare items, you should ask people about the words or show them what you found. Alright. Explain the formation command? Sure. Use the formation command to assign characters to either the front or rear row of the party's battle formation, so you can't change their order, I guess, in this game. Characters in the front row can attack using any type of weapon. Characters in the rear only do half damage when attacking with anything except bows or magic. However, they only receive half damage from enemy attacks, which can be a good thing, but it's also a double-edged sword. Assign each character to the row that best suits his or her abilities. I don't suppose I could interest you in the lesson on magic. Yes, please, because it works differently in this game than it did in Final Fantasy 1. There are 2 schools of magic, black magic and white magic. So far, that's the same. White magic specializes in healing and support spells. For example, Cure restores lost HP and life revives characters who've been KO'd. Black magic, on the other hand, specializes in offensive spells. Blizzard deals ice damage, Thunder deals lightning damage, and so on. Characters can learn both black and white magic spells in any combination they choose. This is what's different. However, a character can only learn a maximum of 16 spells. You can use the Forget command to remove any spell a character has already learned. Forgotten spells can be learned again, but their levels reset to 1, so use caution when forgetting spells. So, they haven't really talked about the leveling system yet, but that's tied into the magic system, and we'll talk more about it when we actually start getting spells, but it's quite a bit different than it was in Final Fantasy 1, and then later in Final Fantasy 3. In fact, it's probably one of the most different magic systems in Final Fantasy. Like, the only other one that is as wildly different that comes to mind is 8, because that one is like heavily tied into the leveling system there as well. Would you like to learn about armor? Sure, why not? There are 4 types of armor: shields, helms, body armor, and gloves. Shields are equipped in the same fashion as one-handed weapons in either the right hand or the left. Since wearing a shield only requires one hand, you can also equip any one-handed weapon along with it. Should you so choose, you can equip 2 shields, one in each hand. However, this makes you attack empty-handed, however. Helms are equipped on the head, gloves on the hands and forearms, and body armor, of course, on the body. Provided you can afford it, you should always keep your party protected with good armor. Alright. Stay to a little lesson on skill levels. Yes, please. This is another major thing. This is a leveling system that has not been used in Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy II. However, it's very reminiscent to the Elder Scrolls series, particularly the early Elder Scrolls from like 1 through 3, maybe 4, I don't know. I've never really played 4. I've never really played 1 or 2 either. I'm most familiar with Morrowind and Skyrim, but Skyrim changed the leveling system quite a bit in some respects. Skill levels can be divided into 2 broad categories: weapon skill levels and magic skill levels. But wait, there's more. Weapon skill levels are divided by weapon types, such as swords and axes. We got a little bit of a hint of this when we checked the status screen for Fynn. Similarly, magic skill levels are divided by spell. Spells like Cure and Fire each have their own skill level. Attacking with a given type of weapon improves the corresponding weapon skill. As your skill levels rise, your attack and accuracy with those types of weapons will likewise improve. Casting a given spell improves the corresponding magic skill. Spells become more powerful and effective as their skill levels rise. Alright. However, there's more to it than that, because that skill system also affects stat boosts as well. There are like no individual character levels in this game. Would you like to hear about the information displayed on the status menu? Sure. You can develop the attributes and abilities displayed on the status menu by fighting battles. Okay, this is exactly what I was just talking about. Attributes such as strength and magic will change according to the actions you take in battle. If a character attacks, his or her strength and weapon skill may improve. Similarly, if a character uses magic, his or her spirit, intellect, and magic level may improve. There are 11 different attributes that can change. Would you like me to explain these 11 attributes in more detail? Of course. HP. If a character loses HP during battle, his or her maximum HP will increase. Participating in lots of battles can also increase maximum HP. MP. If a character's MP drops during battle, his or her maximum MP will rise. So this, again, is another change for the magic system from Final Fantasy 1, where everything is tied to MP. I don't remember if Final Fantasy 3 continues with MP, because I know it goes back to the individual spell levels for the organization. I don't remember if it does spell charges as well. But from Final Fantasy 4 onward, it's pretty much MP and that's it. That's like one of the big things that Final Fantasy 2 brought into the series that got carried forward. Strength. Attacking during battle will increase a character's strength. Stamina. If a character loses HP during battle, his or her stamina will improve. Spirit. Using white magic in battle will increase the caster's spirit. Agility. Battling while your evasion is high will raise agility. Intellect. Using black magic in battle will increase the caster's intellect. Magic. If a character's MP drops during battle, his or her magic will rise. Accuracy. As strength rises, so will accuracy. Equipping better weapons will also improve accuracy. Evasion. Being attacked by foes will raise evasion. Equipping a shield will also improve evasion. Magic defense. When foes cast spells on a character, his or her magic defense will rise. As you can see, it never hurts to try all manner of things in battle. Yeah, the leveling system is very freeform in Final Fantasy II, where you can basically mold your characters however way you want. Now, I don't generally go into all of that. I generally set my characters up the way I want and let things just kind of flow organically. Generally, you don't have to worry too much about it, but there is a lot of flexibility here if you're looking for that kind of thing. Shall I teach you a thing or two about weapons? Of course. There are 7 weapon categories: swords, spears, axes, staves, knives, bows, and unarmed. Swords, spears, axes, staves, and knives are one-handed weapons and can be equipped along with a shield. It's also possible to equip 2 one-handed weapons, one in each hand. Equipping a bow requires 2 free hands, but allows a character to attack with the same damaging force from the rear row of the party formation. Fighting unarmed is another splendid choice and can be used as powerful as any weapon. Unfortunately, equipping a shield cuts an unarmed combatant's attack power in half. So if you plan to fight unarmed, it's probably wise to just skip shields altogether, although of course you can dual wield shields, and I don't think it reduces, I know it doesn't reduce your unarmed damage to 0, but I don't know if it reduces it down to just a quarter, or if it is just add a half and that's it for just the one shield. You want to know more about the flee command, am I right? Yes, because there are some fights that we will get into that are probably too tough for us, and it's probably better to flee. And the more you flee, the more often you flee, the better at it you get, I'm pretty sure. You can escape from battles by selecting the flee command. There's no point in fighting a losing battle. If a foe is too difficult, you're better off fleeing. Think carefully before you act. And that will happen on occasion. More so than in Final Fantasy 1, honestly. But you also don't want to flee from every battle, because otherwise your characters can't improve. And there is like a massive difficulty spike by the end of the, or by the start of the last dungeon. Shall I tell you about chests? Yes. Excuse me. Treasure chests can contain things like items and gil. Many treasure chests also hold rare items you'll not find for sale in any shop. If you're lucky enough to come across such items, hold on to them. But treasure chests aren't all gil and glory by any means. Some chests conceal monsters lurking within. So remember the encounter point system from Final Fantasy 1 that we just played through on the PS1? So in later versions of that game, it got swapped with trap chests and monsters, monster chests, like what they're talking about here. I'm pretty sure the same thing happened with Final Fantasy 2. I've never played the Famicom version. For one thing, it's not officially available in English. You have to play a fan translation of it. But it's also super, super difficult. Eventually, I do want to play it. I might do it maybe next year for the 40th anniversary of the franchise. I don't know. But here we've got monster chests. There's no way to know what's inside a chest until you open it, but monsters often accompany especially good loot. Speaking of which, I wasn't originally going to do this because it is easy enough to play through this game. You have a mini-map on like every screen. It's easy enough to play this game and not miss any chests if you're diligent. However, there is one chest in particular I want to make sure I do not miss. So I am going to pull out my guide again. Of course, I don't have a guide specifically for this version of the game. However, if I pull out probably my PSP guide is probably the most accurate. So yeah, they stopped making paper guides for games a long time ago. But I do have paper guides for the PS1, PSP, and Game Boy Advance versions of this game. So I'm going to pull that out. And actually, you know what? No. Give me the PS1 version. Actually, that might be better. Because I think the tile sets and the pixel remasters are based off of the PS1 Game Boy Advance versions. And it should at least tell me where... You know what? Do I really want to do this? Because again, it's not going to be exactly the most accurate. You know what? Screw it. Screw it. We'll go without a guide. There's beyond the one chest, there's an aspect of the dungeons that almost makes me want to use a guide. But we'll go without a guide this time. We'll just be checking our maps pretty frequently. I already talked to you. Would you like to hear about monsters? Yes. There are many different types of monsters. Some monsters are vulnerable to certain types of attacks. For example, the undead are weak against fire, and aquatic monsters are weak against lightning. However, there are also monsters that absorb particular elemental attacks. Casting fire on a monster made of flame will heal it instead of doing damage. You can damage zombies and other undead with restorative magic like Cure and items like Garlic. So you can actually use Cure on monsters. I don't know if that goes back to the Famicom version or not. It might just be this later version. I don't remember. It's been so long since I played the PSP version. And honestly, I don't think I've ever played any other version of this game beyond the PSP and the Pixel Remaster. But be careful when using spells that steal HP or MP, such as Drain or Osmos. When used against the undead, these spells can backfire and hurt you instead. Alright. Well, that is all still very good to know. So we're just going to have to be diligent and try to explore. And by the way, you're not going to see trophies popping off during this game. Because if I go here... Trophies. Oh, it's all the way down here, isn't it? Where are they? Because this was a couple of years ago. So yeah, I got all the platinums for all the Pixel remasters like as soon as they came out. It was just pretty easy, actually, especially with the boosts. But I wanted to get all of the platinums because the Pixel remasters first dropped on PS4 like 2 months before Final Fantasy 16 came out. So I just ran through them quick as I could. All right. So what we got in here? This is the king's bedchamber. His Majesty was grievously wounded in the flight from Fynn. He's been resting here for some time now. So Hilda's looking after his affairs then. All right, you say the exact same thing. An arrow struck me in the back during the battle, leaving me in this state. Perhaps I really have grown old. My daughter, Hilda, now serves as regent. You should speak with her. I already did. All right, nothing in the treasure chest. Nothing in the bookcase. There is one bookcase later in the game we definitely want to check out, though. All right, and down here, I believe this is Hilda's room? Yes, this would be Hilda's room. All right. So we talk to people down here. You're in the rebel hideout in the town of Altair. Gordon, the Prince of Kashwan, is hiding out here in Altair. I don't know what happened, but something has made him lose faith in himself. And I see a treasure chest over here. So that obtained potions. So if we switch maps, go to our world map, you get a little bit of a look here and see what's going on. So this will show all of our different locations as well as what amenities are there if it's a town and how many chests are in that location. So Altair only has one chest. And we just grabbed it. Princess Hilda fled here when Fynn was sacked. She's doing a remarkable job of leading the rebel army while His Majesty recovers. Alright, so if you go out and check out the town itself... I'm Paul, greatest thief in all the world. They've yet to invent the loot I can't burgle or steal. The Imperial coffers have kept my purse fat with gil lately. Okay. What do you know about the rebels, though? I never steal from the rebels. You can be sure of that. My home was in Fynn, too. I can't even go home now that the Empire has occupied the city. Oh, that sucks. This is the town of Altair. The Imperial forces haven't been deployed this far out yet. I suppose it's only a matter of time, though. Alright, so here we have an inn. Please come in. Oh, it's 0. Costs 0 to heal up, and I believe that's how you can save when in a town, too. Is using the inn. Alright, the armor shop. What can I do for you? Okay, we can buy weapons and equipment here. Let's go ahead and get... Do I really want to? Yeah, let's go ahead and get 3 leather caps, 3 leather gloves, and we can go ahead and just set everybody optimal. So yes, put that second broadsword on. That is good. There we go. You can carry the buckler on your other hand. But yeah, optimal kind of favors attack and defense over just about everything else. Not evasion and accuracy. So there will be times where you'll want to come in here and mess with things manually. But so yeah, optimal favors attack over everything else is what I meant to say. Not attack and defense. So I do like the idea of dual wielding broadswords. Like, I've always thought that was really cool. And yet in all my characters and all my writing, I've never actually had a character do that because it doesn't make a lot of practical sense. But I still think it's really cool, so I do that every opportunity I get in video games. Alright, Tobul, the fellow over in that weapon shop, is one fine blacksmith. I think something's been bothering him lately, though. I wonder what. That must be this guy. What could you want with me? I'm just an old man. What about the Wild Rose? The Geezer Act is just a cover. My name's Tobul. I'm the best darn blacksmith in the Rebel Army. Well, good for you. What can I do for you? Anything worth buying here? Really, a knife is better than an axe? No, I don't believe that. But we're going to leave Guy with the axe. I don't think we really need anything here. Let us go ahead and sell off the equipment we don't need. Get us a little bit more money. And let's head over to the magic shop, way off in the distance here. So there's no individual black and white magic shops, it's just one. Run by a black mage, apparently. What can I do for you? Oh, I can only afford one thing. Okay. Fire, thunder, or blizzard, or cure. I think we'll go ahead and get cure. There we go. And for now... Now, I do know that Guy tends to be one of the best mages in the game. However, I prefer to set my initial healing spell on Maria. Oh, you have to use it as an item. I forgot about that. So yeah, it teaches a cure spell. So you buy individual tomes for spells, and then you can teach them to individual characters. They're one-use items. So we give that to Maria. She now knows cure, so she's going to be our primary healer early in the game. All right, is there no item shop in here? I don't... Oh, yeah, there is. Okay, we got to cross back over here. And talk to you. My name is Gordon. I was once a prince of Kashuan. Now I'm nothing but a coward. When my brother, Scott, fell in battle, I abandoned my kingdom and fled here. Oh, man. He's really down on himself. I don't think that you're really cowardly for fleeing a losing battle. So you've asked to take up arms in the struggle? I'm so afraid Hilda would turn me away that I haven't even asked her. I've been stalling here. I'm just a spineless coward. Go ahead, laugh. I deserve it. Well, that is a bit cowardly, but that's not terrible. I mean, you're concerned for your life. So yeah, we have 3 different merchants here in the item shop. Let's go ahead, buy me 3 potions. And that's all we can afford right now. Maybe I should have gotten an antidote instead. So this guy has stuff that fixes status effects. So Cross removes curses, which is a new status effect. Mallet cures amnesia, which is another new status effect. And Maiden's Kiss cures Toad, which is another new status effect when coming from Final Fantasy 1. So then we've got gold needles that cure stone. So here we have Phoenix Downs, which I don't know if they were in the earliest version of the game. I'm not sure when Phoenix Downs were first introduced. Because like I said, I've never played the Famicom version of 2 or 3. And I don't remember whether or not they're in 4 on the SNES. I think so, but I'm not sure. Definitely by 6 they're there. But I don't know if they're there in 4 or 5. I just don't remember. But we also have ethers, cottages, elixirs, and so on. Get really expensive. Alright, and there's one other guy here. Paul's a skilled thief, but don't worry, you can trust him. He only steals from the Imperials. Well, that's good. But there's also another building here, and this would be the Sanctuary, where you hear the Crystal Prelude. Instead of a priest behind the altar, we have a goddess's statue. Statue of a goddess of some kind. I don't think she's ever actually mentioned. So this is a weird bit of world building that, again, I don't think it's ever actually mentioned in the story who this is supposed to be. But just like Final Fantasy 1 has sanctuaries, so there's implied to be religion, but you don't know what kind. Again, there's a goddess statue in the sanctuary here, so again, there's implied to be religion, but you don't know what kind. Alright, so that is everything here. So let's step out to the world map. Alright, so you can notice from the mini-map there, and even if we open the world map itself, okay, look to the corners of the map. Specifically the upper corners and the bottom right corner. Notice anything odd there? And then again, kind of the midpoint on either side. Notice anything odd there? See how things... I wish this lets you zoom in so you could actually scroll the map around instead of just going through everything here. But notice how the land seems to like continue off beyond the edge of the map. Well, it's because Final Fantasy 2, just like Final Fantasy 1, scrolls, the map wraps around both vertically and horizontally, which technically makes it a torus shape instead of a donut shape instead of a sphere. However, it's still implied the world is actually a sphere. But anyways, what that means is, if we continued all the way northwest, we could eventually end up in that desert to the east by southeast of us, that big desert. However, I would not recommend doing that right now. Just like if we went around to the south here and then through that forest to the west, we could eventually end up on that patch to the right of the desert in the east. Because the map, again, wraps around. So it's very interesting. It's like the only Final Fantasy world map to fully take advantage of that, I think. Because, again, 1, everything's self-contained within the map. Nothing goes beyond the edge of it. 3, I don't think anything goes beyond the edge of that map. Again, with 4, 5, 6, and so on. Up through, actually, all of them. Because 9 was the last time we got an explorable world map like this. But anyways, right now, we want to continue up to the northeast here and get our first fight. All right, we don't have much. All we can do is just straight up attack. And not bad. So, see, we got 22 gil, and everybody got some experience for their weapons, including whatever's in their left hand. Speaking of which, if we go back to status, no, it's not in status, it's in equipment. I noticed something. Fynn, his right hand is his favorite hand, so he's right-handed. Maria, right-handed. Guy, right-handed. I wonder if there are any lefties in this game. I don't remember. But it's interesting that they do that. So I think the reason why they did that is because you can equip weapons in both hands. And so if you don't, by showing which one is their favorite hand, that is the hand, that's their primary weapon. Like, that's where you want the primary weapon. That's going to hit harder than the weapon in their other hand. Alright, so we got to continue up here. First fight, not too bad. We're going up against Leg Eaters, which is a new enemy for Final Fantasy II. It was not in Final Fantasy I at all. You do see a lot of new enemies in Final Fantasy II compared to Final Fantasy I. There are some returning enemies as well, but a lot of new ones, including a number of classic fan favorite type enemies. Get their first introduction here, although some of them do have kind of precursor forms in Final Fantasy I, but the Leg Eater is completely new. And Maria just missed, but Guy is able to one-shot this guy. Okay, oh, I forgot to heal at the end and save. But yes, everybody got level ups on their weapons, and Fynn increased his evasion. Maria's did as well. Okay, so the way Final Fantasy II works is, we already saw this a little bit in the tutorial. All of your stats will increase based on what happens in combat. However, you may have already seen in the booster, there is a booster I have turned on that, and it's turned on by default. That's why I left it there, where after a certain number of fights, your HP increases automatically. And the reason why that's there is because without it, the only way to increase your HP is to take damage. However, in earlier versions of the game, if you healed up the damage before the end was gone, before the fight was over, then you would not see an increase to that HP. And you kind of want to see regular increases to your HP. Otherwise, you are going to get bodied hard by the end of this game. Because those Black Knights we fought in that first battle that we lost to, you know, you do eventually fight those as regular enemies. All right. Oh, okay, good. You can just save anywhere on the world map here. You know what? We'll leave this, but we'll save here in slot 2. I don't want to completely erase. Well, maybe I do. You know what? Yeah. I don't know. Do I want to? Oh, I don't know. I think. Yeah, we'll go ahead and overwrite that. There we go. I was like, do I really want to get rid of that save? Because that was a clear file save from the end of the game. So, slight spoilers, you do get Leon back eventually. But yeah, we'll go ahead and save over that. All right. Configuration. Is this how you access? Yeah, this is how you access the bestiary as well, which is completely filled out. So I'm not going to go through that because there are spoilers in there. But yes, we definitely want to save. You can save anywhere on the overworld in this version of the game. However, I'm pretty sure on the Famicom, maybe the PS1 version, you cannot. You have to use like tents and cottages and so on, just like just like Final Fantasy 1. You know, early versions of Final Fantasy 1. So there's an airship flying around. And now we've got a preemptive strike against Hornets. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and straight through the fight here. Again, real easy right now. Even Maria can one-shot them. Alright. We got a new town up here. This is the town of Gatrea. This is the village of Gatrea. Fynn is just over there across the lake. See? Yeah, I see. It's good to know. Alright, we got a weapon shop here. We don't really have much gil. We can afford another bow, but we don't need one, so we're good there. Yeah, there's not too much going on in this town. Gatrea and Altair haven't fallen into the clutches of the Empire yet. But once the Dreadnought is complete, nothing will be able to stop the Empire. Well, that doesn't sound good. What can we do for you? Do I need anything here? I don't think so. Alright, we're good there. What do you got for me, old man? The Imperial forces have occupied Castle Fynn. The gates are drawn and no one can enter. With the Imperial troops and monsters roaming the streets, the city isn't any better off. Huh. Alright, would this be the sanctuary? Yes, it is. Again, it's small. But it's the sanctuary. There's a pub just on the outskirts of Fynn. When the Empire invaded, the barkeep didn't make it out in time. They say he's still working there, pouring drinks for the Imperials. Oh, he's a collaborator, is he? Oh, we don't like them. Death to all collaborators. Alright, let's go ahead and buy a... Actually, let's buy an antidote. Just one. Want to save some of my gil here. So those guys are probably going to sell the same things they did in the other town. Anything in the inn here? Please come in. Cause 0 gil to rest up and heal. Interesting. Why is it 0? Why is it 0? I would have expected them to charge something by now. Well, either way, we're fine. Alright, let's go ahead and save on the overworld. There we go. Alright, got more Hornets. So notice how the way the enemies are arranged. There's 2 stacked vertically. And that's kind of the way it goes. Alright. So here we've got finally more than 3. So we've got 5. So the way the enemies are structured here, it's not a 3x3 grid like in Final Fantasy 1 where you have up to 9. Here it's a 2x8 or sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. It's a 2x4 or 4x2 grid for a maximum of 8 enemies. However, again, larger enemies take up 2 slots, so they max out at a much smaller number as well. And you can target characters in the back if you want. However, I think they take reduced damage because just like you have back and front rows, they have back and front rows as well. So your best bet is just to attack from the front backwards. Now, thankfully, we do have redirected hits, so we don't have to focus too much on which enemy to attack. However, if we're playing on the Famicom version, we would not have redirected hits. We would have to specifically target each enemy and basically count HP in our head, enemy HP in our head. Understand how many hits it's going to take to knock them out. And I am glad I just got... Okay, if you're in sword leveled up, we got some stat increases, and I'm glad that I just got... Oh! An antidote. I forgot. This is like the one Final Fantasy game where poison does not last after battle. I completely forgot about that. Alright, so focus on the leg eaters here. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to save again real quick because this could go really badly. So our goal is like directly east of us. But I'm going to go up here because I kind of want to show you guys the wraparound if I can. But also why you don't want to do the wraparound this early in the game. Because we just wandered into an area we're not supposed to be. So even though this game is technically open world, you can go any direction you want, visit the town in any order you want, because of the way the map wraps around and the way the landmasses are designed. What happens is you end up stumbling into areas where if you have not done a lot of grinding beforehand, you will get bodied and you will go down. So we're going to go ahead and reload from the most recent save data and stick closer to this lake. We got to go around this way. Alright, we got ambushed. That means that the enemies get to attack first. Alright, so Maria got poisoned. So she's only taking one HP of damage every turn. So I'm not going to worry about healing her. Because Maria, for me, is always the one who lags behind in terms of HP. Sitting in the back row, she takes less damage, gets, targeted less overall, I'm pretty sure. So if it weren't for the regular HP increases... Oh, and poison finally wore off, too. If it weren't for the regular HP increases, then she would be screwed. Alright, so here is Fynn. Oh, right outside there. Now remember, Princess Hilda didn't think we would even get this far. She was like, oh, that area is too dangerous. Stay away from Fynn. It's too dangerous for you. You guys are too weak. You're much, much too weak. After all, we picked you guys up in the forest when you were like near death. And it's like, yeah, but that's because we got attacked by an Imperial Death Squad. Alright. Quick save. So, Fynn. It's just as we heard, the city is crawling with Imperial soldiers and monsters too. We have to be careful. Make sure not to get too close. So what it means by that is you might think this is a forced stealth section where you have to, but no, you can walk right in front of these guys, but the moment you talk to them, then you get attacked by captains. And these guys are strong. See what I mean? You're not meant to be able to take these guys on right now. You have to avoid them. So all you really have to do to avoid them is just not talk to them. There's no actual line of sight mechanics in this game. As long as you don't talk to them, you will be fine. So you just, you go in, you act like you belong, and just don't talk to them. But of course, there are monsters throughout as well, but these are weaker monsters. A little bit stronger than we've found so far, but still weak enough that we can take them on fairly easily. Alright, if we go in here... Oh, we got goblins! Alright, they weren't too much trouble. So yeah, we got some health increases, good. Alright, so if we go in here, there's nothing going on in here. I think that might be Paul's house. I don't remember. Alright. Probably going to be turning auto battle on at some point. Right now we don't really need it. But there's not really a need not to. Oh yeah, no merchants too. Can't talk to anybody in the merchants because... Oh, the village evacuated, duh. Yeah, the village evacuated when the Imperials invaded. The only person who didn't make it out was the bartender. So we have to find our way to the bartender. Oh, I remember how you get there. Okay. We actually have to go around the back of the town. So yeah, if we auto-battle, it actually moves things along faster, so we might just go ahead and do that quite a bit. And then just take it off auto-battle when we need to change things. And that'll speed things along quite a bit. Because most of these fights you don't really have to think too much about, especially this early in the game, without with redirected attacks enabled. Without them, like I said, you would have to take careful thought with every turn to plan your attacks. Alright, and something I haven't talked about is, like with Final Fantasy 1, the battle system is purely turn-based. You guys have seen it in action already. You select all of your characters' attacks at the start of the round and then watch it all play out. There we go. All right. Got some gil. Oh, we got individual gil for each enemy. Interesting. All right, so here is the bar. All right, Eva Maria can one-shot a leg eater now. So that's good. All right, so here's our bar. Now, it might be safe to talk to these guys. I'm not sure. Because he might assume that you're supposed to be here now. No, it is not safe to talk to these guys. Okay. Well, let's try to flee. You know what? Screw it. Oh, we actually ran away. I did not think we could flee that battle. I was wondering. Okay. Well, if we come back here and talk to the barkeep. Whoa, where do you think you're going? Customers aren't allowed behind the counter. These Imperials are as ill-bred as they come. So he doesn't like Imperials, even though he's serving them. Which, okay, maybe he's not as much of a collaborator as we thought. Let's ask him about the Wild Rose. Aha! You're with the rebels. Okay, please don't actually be a real collaborator. You'll find a secret door in this wall. There's a wounded soldier back there. Go see if you can help him. Oh, okay. What am I going to do? I've had it with this place. You guys can take it from here. Don't let us down. Oh, that's why he didn't leave. Because he was trying to help the wounded soldier. Not a real collaborator then. Okay. We've got treasure chests back here. We got a potion. We got a potion. We got a potion. And if we check our map, there are a lot more treasure chests here. However, I think most of that might be tied to the castle. I'm not sure if the castle counts as a separate location. I don't remember. But if not, we'll get them eventually. But these are the only ones available to us right now. Are you going to turn me over to the Empire? At least have the decency to kill me first. I don't want them to take me alive. No, dude, we're with the rebels. Well, kind of. We know the rebels. We're not with the Imperials, is what I mean. So, you're rebel soldiers, are you? Not quite, but close enough. My name is Scott. I'm a Prince of Kashwan. Oh, this is Gordon's brother, who he thought died. Prince Scott, we were told you fell in battle. Thank goodness you're still alive. I am, but not for much longer. I'm afraid I must ask a favor of you. There's something you must tell my brother, Gordon. Tell him I know he has great strength. He must learn to have more faith in himself. I also have a message for the king. Tell him the reason Fynn fell so quickly is that Count Borgen betrayed us. He's been made a general in the Imperial Army. Oh, that turncoat. That Benedict Arnold. There is one more thing. Tell Hilda that I love her. Yeah, Scott and Hilda were engaged. And because Hilda was the only heir, that would have made Scott either Prince Consort or King of Fynn once they got married. And, he does have a brother in Kashwan, Gordon. And I don't think they ever tell you which is older. I think Scott is supposed to be older, which means that the throne of Kashwan would normally go to him. However, he could abdicate that responsibility to marry Hilda, in which case that crown would go to Gordon. Or they could just merge the two countries and so on. Either way, what we're doing instead is... No, don't deliver that last message. The confessions of a dying man. They would only bring her pain. My brother Leon, have you heard of him? I'm sorry, but I have not. I wish I could be of more help. Oh, he's using his last of his strength to get out of bed. Here, I want you to take my ring. I'm sure it will be of use. Maybe it's all this talking, but I've grown extremely tired. If you'll excuse me, I just need to rest. Just for a little while. And he collapses and dies. You obtain Scott's ring. Triumphant! But Scott is dead. So Scott is no more. Confessions of a dying man. Alright, well, that's all we can do in Fynn. So we need to get back out of here. Make our way back to the rebel hideout to convey his last messages, his dying wish. Alright, Maria not looking too hot there. But I think we'll be okay. I'm not too worried just yet. Yeah, notice how Furion and Gaia are both already over 50 HP, and Maria's still at like 30 max. Yeah. She's always lagging behind. Oh, I forgot I was using auto battle. I forget about that for a time or two. Oh, I love the music in this game. It's so good. And to think, Nobuo Uematsu originally wrote this music for a Famicom, and he came back to help with the reorchestration of the soundtrack here too. He helped supervise it because he hasn't really been that involved since Final Fantasy X. Ever since 10, that was where he sought outside help, with a significant portion of the soundtrack. He was burned out after doing Final Fantasy 1 through 9 in a little over 10 years, plus a number of other games as well. So he got help with Final Fantasy X soundtrack, and then ever since then, he's really only contributed a handful of songs each game, like 1 or 2 tracks each game. Oops, I pressed the wrong button there. All right, let's go to Gatrea first. And let's go ahead and heal at the inn. Now, because we can save anywhere on the overworld, it's not as important to stop at the inn last anytime you go to a town. And in fact, you don't save anymore when doing so. All right, items. Let's go ahead and get some items here. Give me 3 more potions. No high potions just yet, but give me 5 eye drops, 4 antidotes, and then over here, give me 5 crosses, and that's it for now. I don't think we're going to encounter enemies that deal curse damage that much, but at least not this early, but it's still worth it to have some in reserve, just in case. Alright, guys pulling ahead of Furion in terms of HP. Alright. Furion just got some. Maria got some as well, though not as many. She is basically the Carl of this game. Always lagging behind in terms of HP. Alright. No real upgrades that time. I think we're at the point where these enemies aren't going to improve our weapon skills that much because they're just so weak. Eventually, your weapon skills get to a point that, yeah, your enemies just, the enemies you're facing off against just cannot provide you the experience you need. So you can't just go off and grind against low-level enemies and expect to get to high-level weapon skills. No, that's not the way it works. Alright, let's go in here then. Wait. No, Gordon. I want to talk to Gordon first. My name is Gordon. I was once a Prince of Kashua, now yada yada. Alright, if I show you your brother's ring. That ring! It's my brother's! He really said all those things about me? Yes, he did. Your brother loves you and believes in you. Or at least, he did. But he's gone now. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.